Hello, everyone. This is Record of Ragnatalk, the podcast about the manga and anime Record of Ragnarok. And today, I'm joined by a very special guest, the voice of Raiden Tameemon, Michael Schwalbe. Michael, thank you very much for being a part of this.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. Glad to be here.
All right, so I'd like to start off with 10 rapid-fire, basic, get-to-know-you questions, just so the audience can sort of feel you out a bit and understand
Yeah,
the
sure.
person we're working with. So, what are your go-to pizza toppings?
Go-to pizza topping, probably. Well, there's two. It's either pepperoni sausage, just straightforward, meaty goodness, or we've got a special one from Domino's that we like. That's like Asiago cheese, Parmesan cheese, garlic white sauce, and it is delightful.
That makes me happy to hear because I work at Domino's. That's my source of income.
Dude, I'm putting Mrs. Domino's kids through college.
Oh, absolutely. Do you have any pets? If so, what are their names and what are their species?
I have one dog named Romeo. He is a poodle.
That is adorable. Love dogs. What was your
He is extremely cute.
Oh, I bet. What is your favorite cartoon growing up?
Dude, these are quick, dude. These. I could talk an hour on each of these. Probably. All right, probably Winnie the Pooh and or Darkwing Duck.
I I just missed Darkwing Duck. I'm late '90s, early
Oh
2000s.
man, you missed out. Darkwing's the king.
I've only heard good things about Darkwing Duck, and I feel sad that I've missed out on all that.
It's on Disney Plus. You can go watch it.
I might just do that. Do you watch any sports? If so, who is your team?
I don't, and non-applicable.
Fair enough. What's your favorite video game of all time?
Makes me a basic bitch, but Final Fantasy VII or
That's not a basic bitch answer.
I mean, it kind of is. Like that's like every 50% of people's favorite game. Or the first Kingdom Hearts is also just utterly iconic.
Yeah. I don't think that's a basic bitch answer. It's a solid answer. It's a solid. What is your perfect breakfast?
Oh man, I would say nowadays probably my wife's biscuits and gravy. She's from like the middle of nowhere, Mississippi, and it'll curl your toes.
That sounds really good.
Oh man.
I should try grits. Like I had grits once at like a really fancy restaurant, and it just didn't do it for me. And I feel like I
I'm not a fan of grits, and she loves grits. I'm not a fan of grits. I'm a bacon and maybe French toast and the biscuits and gravy kind of dude.
yeah. Maybe I should try them somewhere else, but not for me so far. Who is your favorite superhero?
Darkwing Duck. No, I would say I don't. It's hard because I'm not into the Marvel like cinematic universe or whatever. So and I feel like superhero is so could be so broad nowadays. Like there's a lot of anime. Like you could say All Might or somebody. I I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite. I appreciate a lot of different canons and a lot of different universes of superheroes.
All right, totally fair, totally valid.
But I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm like a fanboy or just a fan really of. I don't collect any of them or religiously watch any of them.
Yeah, I get that. Uh, what's your favorite band? And you can't say yours. That's cheating.
Oh man, I this I could talk for five ever about. I'm obsessed with music. All the time that I don't spend watching superheroes and sports, I spend listening to music. I listen to absolutely everything, and not like the except country and rap like people. I would say the artists that have been most important to me through my life are that. Well, definitely number one is Opeth. Uh, big metalhead, but anybody that knows that Opeth is, you can't even call them a metal band anymore. They do like jazzy funk rock and progressive rock and like crazy, really out there classically inspired things. They're just really incredible. Back in my like early days, I learned metal vocals by singing all my Slipknot albums in the early 2000s. So Slipknot's up there. But I probably spend the most time nowadays listening to just a really diverse smattering of like moody bluegrass and K-pop and progressive like death metal and like uh, Billie Eilish. And so I mean I love music in general.
If we have spare time, I want to ask you some more about music because, oh my gosh, just
Civil Wars, I love Civil Wars.
yeah, I have so many questions just based off of that answer because you always hear people say, "I listen to everything except country," and I'm like, I like country.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I don't like modern country. I actually worked for Warner Music Group in Nashville for several years before being a voice actor. So I feel like having worked for the country record label, like one of my first voiceover jobs was for Blake Shelton. Like I get to say that I don't like it without just being a follower. So, but like the OG country stuff, like real country artists or like bluegrass and like that I love that shit.
Like Garth Brooks. Do you like Garth Brooks?
Garth Brooks slaps, dude. Garth rocks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Garth is an awesome artist. I mean, Shania Twain is an awesome artist. Like, there's a lot of really great country artists, but like the modern stuff with Luke Bryan and Kenny Chesney, you miss me with it.
I feel like Zach Brown Band holds their own. Occasionally, they put.
Zach Brown's got a couple decent things. I fucking love. Of course, now I'm gonna forget his name. Chris Stapleton.
Oh, beautiful.
Can't not like Chris Stapleton.
Beautiful. I also really like Darius Rucker. He's like more so his old stuff, Wagon Wheel. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent here. What was your first ever acting gig? Like ever? It could be a school play. It could be when you were a kid. Anything.
I mean, I was, like many kids, I was, stuck doing the dinosaur costume or the tree in like a school play or something. So who knows? The first gig that first school acting thing I remember doing was some high school play, and what was it called? God, I don't even remember. There was one that was like a theater in the round thing that we like actually went and did a competition with once. That was like if film noir was like set in ancient Rome, and it was like a hard-boiled private eye like trying to solve Julius Caesar's murder. It was very funny.
Oh, okay, all right.
But then I really didn't do any like actual acting really ever, aside from a couple little school plays and things. Most of my quote unquote acting background is just playing make believe with my brother out in the forest around our house.
That's some of the best, most memorable acting experiences.
Oh yeah.
What are some guilty pleasure songs you enjoy?
Guilty pleasure songs?
Yeah.
I don't believe in the term.
I love it. Beautiful.
If there's a song you enjoy, why feel guilt about it? Maybe actually the closest, if I had to pick one that would like most people would qualify it as guilty pleasure, probably the only band that I like slightly hesitate to say that I have a soft spot in my heart for is Creed, because Creed was like the first rock album that I ever owned when I was younger, and Human Clay, of course, and so I played the shit out of that album. And I will still to this day maintain that there are some songs on that album that are much better than people give Creed credit for. What If? Anybody out there? What If? You look that song up on YouTube. What If by Creed goes way, way harder than it has any right to.
I will look that up right now. I'm in the same boat as you.
Dude, it slaps. It's like straight metal. I mean, and the proof that Creed can be good is all you need to know is that Creed turned into Alter Bridge, and Alter Bridge is one of the greatest rock bands of all time. And all they needed to do was get a better lead singer. It's still Creed, just with a new singer.
Do you defend Nickelback at all?
No, I don't like Nickelback. I Okay, they also have a couple okay songs, but like Nickelback and bands like them, like Imagine Dragons and whatnot, it's like it's music that is made to make money. You know, it's there for licensing and like
Right.
okay, you can jam to some of it. It's catchy like now and then, but there's not like a lot of critical thought or like artistic merit to it, and so for that reason, I'm out.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely a fair criticism. Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that. What was your first experience with anime in your life?
I was well, okay, maybe not anime, but in my freshman or sophomore year of high school, my friend Ben let me borrow the first two Inuyasha manga, and I was just immediately hooked. And around then, you know, Adult Swim, Toonami was starting to be a thing, and so watching like the original Toonami lineup with Dragon Ball Z and Dot Hack Sign, and then like Wolf's Rain and Adult Swim on the weekends, and like those were the days.
That sounds.
Rurouni Kenshin. What else was on that lineup? Obviously Inuyasha.
Sailor Moon, I think.
Sailor Moon was. I don't think that was on a different station because I never saw Sailor Moon until like honestly very very recently.
Right.
But maybe it was. It's possible it was, and I got out of school kind of late. Maybe I was like missing it.
What was it like recording for the game Bug Snacks?
Bugsnax was one of the most fun recording sessions I've ever had. It was like early in the pandemic, and so it was still like we were doing it remotely, so I was just recording from home. But it was so fun and funny because these things are just so stupid, but like in a really great, endearing way.
Yeah.
So you know, the script is just like 30 pages of a bug saying its name in different ways. And so it's like first you have to come up with the voice print for it, and I'm 7 different bug snacks. I am me and I forget who the other person is. There's 2 of us that did 7 each, and we did the most. And so you got to figure out like ways to differentiate the voice prints for these different little dudes and make them appropriate for their physicality and their animations and everything. And then you got to figure out like how to emote all their different moods and such, but just with their names. And so I just remember the weenie worm is my favorite, and it's this little crawling hot dog that crawls around on the ground and just looks kind of gross. Like it's an inchworm hot dog. Like that's it's a little difficult to
Yeah. Okay.
watch. And so I was like, okay, well, he's kind of gross and he's got this pinched little mouth. So, and he kind of like looks like he's like heaving a little bit when he, inchworms.
Yeah.
So I was like, weenie worm. And then the director just like literally laughed so hard he cried and was like, he sounds so uncomfortable. And a legend was born.
The legend was born. That game sort of became a little underground hit, if I recall.
Dude, it is. The Discord for that game is popping. People, like, the amount of fan art and, like, snack sonas that people make, like, it's got a definite cult following.
Oh, yeah. And I've been a fan of Smite for many years. What was it like recording for that game? Because I know most of the lines are just enemy in left lane, enemy middle lane.
There's a surprising number that aren't, but they're all buried in like the VGS system that nobody uses, or different voice prompts. So I've done a few skins, and then I'm Heimdall, God Heimdall, and so it's kind of like, I don't want to say underwhelming, but they have so many skins that like it really is just an assembly line. Back the first time I booked it, the first one I did was for the Sun.God raw skin, and that was back in like 2018 or something. And so back then, you'd go into the studio and you'd record, but like they've got it down to just, okay, give me 2 takes of this. Okay, give me a take of this. Okay, let's do that. Let's do that a little more projected. Okay, give me 2 takes of this. And so you just bang out like literally everything in an hour and a half, and then they pat you on the butt and send you on your way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it goes by pretty quick. And they've got just so many actors in that game that like kind of the joke is it's like baby's first AAA credit.
Yeah.
Because there's literally the IMDb page for it is comically massive. There's like 400, 500 actors.
Yeah, like if I'm going to a convention and I don't have anything for an actor to sign, I always just bring my Smite poster because odds are they're in it.
Oh, everybody, like every nobody is in Smite. It's really pretty funny.
Yeah, my poster is all beat up at this point. I have like 35 different signatures from it from like over years. Oh my god. As somebody who is a musician, how important is a soundtrack to a medium like anime where most of the sensory appeal might come from the visual animation?
This is a great question. Now, do you mean how important is the soundtrack to the enjoyment of the viewer or to the like recording process or
Let's. I think just overall. I think. I mean, you could answer both because I'm curious about the recording process and how that does affect you.
Well, I would say I think it's tremendously important for the viewer in just solidifying, the motifs for the characters and like their personality. For instance, Kawaki and Boruto that I play is like has some of the coolest backing soundtracks and like motifs in the show, and so when like the chugging guitar starts, he's about to do something badass, which is super important for that show. But like for the recording process, it really doesn't factor in at all. We don't get given the soundtrack in advance or anything like that. So at most, we'll just hear snippets of it like in the preview when we're, they'll preview a line and then we'll regurgitate it in English and then you kind of carry on forward. So.
All right. That's totally fair. What was the? Do you remember what the audition process was like for Ryden and Record of Ragnarok? And do you remember any of the lines that were used?
Well, I could probably still have it in my inbox. Let me go look. The audition process is, there's not really anything to talk about. It's basically the same as it is for anything. I just got sent the auditions from so usually anime, there's like 50% of the time it'll come from a studio that you're just like on the roster, but usually it's because your agent has gotten you on that roster or you have like connections to the studio from other ways, like previous jobs or something, or you'll just be getting the auditions from your agent directly. And so then you just record them and send it back off. Raiden's lines were 2 scenes. The first was the sprawling with all the women around him. Yeah. And so it did like 4 lines from that, just like the yawning when he woke up through like, more girls I chase, the more fired up I get. Kind of that was the extent of it. And then the other one is like a battle scene, one of the battle scenes with Shiva. And you do like 3 to 4 lines from each and then send it off. And that's it.
Sorry to interrupt. So they send you like footage of the scene, or do they send you stills, or just explain it in text?
It's explained in text. And that's pretty typical for all sides. They'll maybe include an image of the character. And this isn't just, like private Netflix stuff. This is just how it works, really. They'll send you like a still image of the character if you're lucky. and maybe they'll send you a link to like a trailer if there's a trailer out. Sometimes there are trailers out, sometimes there's not. If it's simuldub, you've got like nothing to work on really. But if it's like something that has already been out for a year or two in English, then you could just go look the show up, and watch it in advance yourself to know what it sounds like.
Were you able to see his design, and if so, did that influence the voice at all?
Um, I mean, I saw him in the trailer for it. I knew he was this really big, muscular dude. They told us that they wanted a deep, booming voice, and so that's like, okay, tall, deep, booming voice. There's not a whole lot of directions you can go with that beyond kind of what I did. So that kind of voice print is kind of my wheelhouse. So I went for it, and apparently they liked it.
Yeah, and I think you did a great job, and I'm not just saying.
Oh, thank you.
What was the first scene? Or sorry, does doing his voice like strain your voice? Because obviously that's not naturally how you speak in conversation.
Right. No, so it doesn't. And I also teach like the class on how to do extreme vocals safely and sustainably without hurting your voice. So it's something that, like I said, is kind of a wheelhouse of mine. I am a professional metal singer. I still get paid to do metal vocals for I did metal vocals for a McDonald's commercial last year, and I did a track for PlayerUnknown's Battleground Mobile. I did another metal track, lyrics and melody lines and metal vocals for an indie game called Slave Zero X that's coming out. So I've been doing that for like, I don't know, 16 years now, and just so happens that you can't really make money from metal as like a career, but so that's why I ended up pivoting from music into voice acting. But you can still use a lot of those techniques in voice acting, so that's kind of what I do. And for Ryden's voice, it uses something called your false vocal folds or your vestibular folds, which are these thicker folds of mucous membrane in your throat on either side to the top of your vocal folds. They sound like this. And you can just kind of turn them on and take them back off again, and it's not strenuous because that gravel doesn't live on your actual vocal folds.
I see. So it's like using different parts of...
Yeah, different parts of your vocal anatomy that make it sound stressful without actually being stressful.
Oh, okay. That's got to be very helpful.
Yup.
Where are people... If you can plug your class if you want. You said, do you have a class that you said you have a class?
Yeah, I do. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see me posting about it or posting links for it. I've got a couple coming up in a few weeks. I will say it's geared a little more for people that are at least somewhat like hobbyists to working actors. But the techniques are universal, so it's not. And I will say most actors of any skill level are not using these techniques. So it's not like if you aren't a full professional, you're going to be at a disadvantage to learn them. But yeah, over on my Twitter, which is twitter.com/whathesaidvo, you'll find my link to the class. It's called Extreme Vocals for Extreme Roles, and teach you all sorts of cool metal vocals and vocal anatomy and how to hack your voice to sound like pure evil, and then do it safely.
There you go. So anyone interested in that, please give it a look.
Thank you.
What was the first scene that you recorded? Because I know his initial introduction scene it's pretty jarring for the average person.
No, we went just straight chronological from the beginning of the show to the end. So for my first scene was that first intro where he's like, sleeping in the room, and we just went from there, really.
That is awesome. So you didn't know did you know the outcome of the fight going into it, or did you?
No, I didn't. We finished my first scene, or my first session, which was, I don't know, a couple couple few hours long, maybe 2 or 3, and so I was like, all right, yeah, I mean, this is fun. Like, and I was being directed by a good friend of mine, Mike Schneider. Shout out, Mike. And he, I was like, so we got a bunch of episodes left. Is Ryden sticking around a while? And he was like, oh, and I was like, no, no, Mike.
Well, he won out with a smile.
Yeah, he sure did. You can't ask for a more noble and fitting warrior's end than he had, and so it was an honor and a privilege to bring that out.
Yeah. Out of all of the fights in Record of Ragnarok, including the manga, I think maybe 2 of them, and we're up to round 9 at this point, 2 of them have had deaths where the fighter was like, oh, dying sucks. The rest were like, yay! Or not yay, but it is what it is, sort of. Accepting,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, by the time you get to, like, a battle of this caliber, you're probably one of the more stoic and controlled and noble fighters.
Yeah, definitely. What was there a scene that stood out to you particularly with him?
Oh, I mean, the intro is just iconic. Like, it's so freaking funny, and just what a character. It's also like, it's difficult anytime in anime when you're asked to voice somebody that's like potentially problematic. And Raiden is rather problematic, but like he's just so endearing about it. Like you can't not like him, really. So yeah, I think that first scene is just hysterical, and then literally any scene with Thrud in it is just so great. Thrud being voiced by another good friend of mine, Marin Miller, also just made it way more fun.
Yeah, they did an amazing job on it. Why do you think that, leading into that, why do you think Ryden and Thrud's relationship is so impactful and memorable for the audience when maybe in total they have like 3 scenes together throughout the entire screen time of Ryden?
I think I mean, I think their dynamic is so pure and sweet and respectful that it's like really just such a foil to the tropes that you think he's going to embody. And I think that's why, like, despite his kind of problematic views and attitudes toward women, he gets somewhat of a pass in it, is because it's like he's not just being a creepy predator.
Right.
I mean, this motherfucker just loves women. Like, he loves, like, the whole concept of women. It's not like he's trying to get something out of them, to like a predatory or selfish standpoint. And he doesn't, because of his reaction to Thrud. Like, what is the better kind of woman? One that has more woman, and so you see a lot of unexpected sides to him in the interactions he has with Thrud, and a level of genuine tenderness between them, even in those few short moments, that it makes it feel pretty impactful.
Yeah, because in anime, I've been watching anime maybe about 7 years. Jesus Christ, 7 years at this point. And one of my least favorite tropes is the lovable pervert, quote unquote.
I fucking hate it. I'm sorry if anybody is listening that loves these people, but like, kick that shit to the road. Like, I hate that dude, and because it's so pervasive, and it's also so prevalent in like actual society over there, and it normalizes it to a really unhealthy extent, and it's just not good. And so I like that they took some of that, the lovable pervert, but then they like flipped it and gave him a chance. Yeah, they gave him a chance to show that he isn't just a lovable pervert. He's like a noble guy who would give up anything to defend and like appreciate women. And I won't name a show, but there was
I'll censor it. I hated. Couldn't get into it because I just wanted to punch in the face.
I haven't seen it, but now I won't.
Think lovable pervert. It's just the worst, and there's no redeeming it. And I had to drop the show because of it. Because my friends were like, no, it gets really good. I'm like, I can't, I just can't. With this fucking
Well, and what kills me is like, for instance, back to Inuyasha again, you've got a character like Miroku who is the lovable pervert, but also suffers consequences for it, and like is routinely like it's not normalized, it's not cool, he gets the shit kicked out of him for it, like. And so I was kind of expecting when I went and rewatched some of it, not that long ago, that it was going to have aged really poorly, and I was actually pleasantly surprised that it had aged pretty well. But then there are so many shows where that character's behavior is normalized and it's tolerated, and they're still allowed to like just participate in the group as if they're not just a total creepy pest.
Exactly. Like, I've had an instant in my life where like somebody I thought I knew really well turned out to be really bad with people online. I just cut them out. I'm like, bro, you need help. I can't help you. Like, bye.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Well, it's a huge problem in the voice actor community, like it feels like every year there's some new person who like, oh, turns out they've been using their status to predate on people and like groom kids, and it's like, can you just not?
Yeah. Is it that hard to just not?
Could you like have a moral compass and like maybe seek therapy before you, traumatize children, maybe?
And it's upsetting. But back to a more happy thing. Do you have any memorable bloopers or moments from recording Record of Ragnarok?
I wonder if I should even say this.
Go for it. It's the internet. We don't.
So, so there was definitely one. The one that's. Oh God, I can't even remember what the line is. So a thing that voice actors will do is since we all record individually, we're not recording in an ensemble. We leave little presents for each other, like in terms of, especially when you preview like the line that's coming before your line, they'll play, the few seconds or whoever you're interacting with. And so every now and then, as kind of a surprise, they'll record an alt version of a line just to surprise you. And so during that Thrud scene, I think it was the one where they first bond together. Marin left a version. Was like, all right, we'll preview the next line, and Thrud said something like, when she was holding him from behind and they were bonding, she's like, and I can't wait to peg you all night long. And I about like fucking spit my water out in the booth.
I mean,
so somewhere out there is the Thrud peg take, but and you know what? I complete in my head that's canon.
That's canon. Fuck it, it's canon now. Hashtag release the peg version.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Ryden line and moment?
Do I have a sorry, you broke up a bit.
Oh, sorry about that. Do you have a favorite Ryden line and moment from the show?
I mean, I think the moment where he just goes flying through the air completely naked and is like, "Wanna play a game of hide the weasel?" is like one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen. I mean, like, basically every line he says is iconic. So, yeah, there's that whole intro, I would say, is just so funny. And because I also think one of the reasons that it's a little bit redeeming, or that it's not as bad as it could be, is that he's never once made out to be a normal or like decent person. Like, his whole shtick is that he's this lecherous, gluttonous, like, asshole.
And yeah,
like he's just unredeemable, but he can beat the crap out of people. So yeah. I think that, and then the final scene where he like nobly goes to his maker along with Thrud is also was really touching and emotional.
Yeah, like he is a lovable pervert, but he, like when Brunhild's like no, like he stops, like he knows where the line is. Somewhat.
Yeah, yeah,
Do you think you'd get along with Ryden in real life?
that's a great question. Yes, yes, I do.
Yeah, he'd be the best.
I also, I mean, like we both just really appreciate femininity in just all its forms, and we both love alcohol, and we are both tall and loud, and I mean, really, there's not a lot of philosophy to get in the way. you know, you just get together and like talk shit and have a drink, and I mean, how could we not be friends?
Exactly. What's your go-to drink? I can't. I'm very sensitive to alcohol. I can't have anything if it's not a sweet cocktail. I know I'm a.
Oh, dude. Well, I'm a bartender as well. That was kind of started maybe 4 years ago, and then really got into it during the pandemic. And I've bartended events and stuff. I've got a restaurant quality bar at my house and like 150 bottles of booze. So that could also go along. Could say that a long time. I would say if I had to pick an overall favorite that I was gonna just make for myself at home. It'd probably be the Vieux Carré, which is like a New Orleans. You can think of it as like a New Orleans Manhattan old-fashioned riff. It's brandy or cognac, preferably, rye whiskey and sweet vermouth, Peychaud's and Angostura bitters, and a little bit of Benedictine over a big cube of ice. It is delicious. I love black Manhattans and old fashions. I also love tiki cocktails, and I do a lot with rum and really elaborate tiki cocktails. So if I was going to pick my favorite tiki cocktail or tropical riff, it'd probably be either a painkiller and or a jungle bird. Jungle bird is also just super good.
Do you have a preferred juice you like to use to mix with cocktails, like pineapple juice, orange juice, apple juice, whatever it might be?
I have at my bar right now limes, lemons, because fresh squeezed is just always better. Orange juice, white grapefruit juice, cranberry juice, pineapple juice, passion fruit, strawberry, and mango purees, and coconut cream. So I mean, pretty much everything. I try to keep like any time that I like need a cocktail, I want to have the ingredients for it. So I've got a lot.
Do you host a
I say that I disguise a problem by calling it a hobby.
That's what I do with Legos. Uh, just Jesus Christ, it's so much.
That's a that's a great response.
Do you host a lot of parties? Because I'd imagine, like, with
No, I don't.
really.
I never leave my house. I don't have any friends. I am working all day every day. I work like 70, 80 hours a week.
Oh Jesus, you poor man. If you had to binge one type of food to gain a bunch of weight to become a sumo wrestler, what food would it be?
Absolutely cheeseburgers.
Ooh,
All day. I love cheeseburgers and fries. I don't like I've had the fancy expensive steaks and I've gone to the fancy like Las Vegas restaurants and LA restaurants like bro, give me a good greasy double cheeseburger and it beats the shit out of anything you're going to like get or like Steak and Shake. Come on.
ooh.
Steak and Shake's where it's at.
Do you have a Shake Shack over in the West Coast? Because I'm in East Coast.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's Shake Shacks all over here. Shake Shack's good. It's overpriced and to like oh, we're counter serve fancy burger. Just get over yourselves.
Do you have?
Oh, we got shake sauce. Oh, okay, it's the same sauce that literally every other burger place has. Okay, minus the relish.
Yeah, if you just mix ketchup and mayo, that to me is the best burger sauce. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, I think that plus a little bit of relish or just pickle juice to give it a little salty zing.
That's solid. That's
But otherwise, yeah, basically. I mean, that's what Thousand Island is it's relish and ketchup and mayo.
Do you have
So
a favorite burger joint? Like whether it's main.
I love Steak and Shake. But there are very few of them around. When I moved from LA to Vegas a few years back during the pandemic, and luckily there's a Steak and Shake just a couple miles away. But it's unfortunately inside a casino, so I have to ask myself, is it worth confronting humanity to get this burger? And usually the answer is no. Um, there, I would say otherwise. Lately, I've been eating a lot of Farmer Boys. Yeah, Farmer Boys, what it's called. They just opened one of those near me, and they're surprisingly good. I used to eat a decent bit of In-N-Out burger just because they're good. I mean, the burgers are good. The fries are just so god awful terrible, and everybody who says otherwise is just lying.
Thank you, God. You're correct. You're just.
It is shocking. It is shocking to me how I can watch them chop these potatoes in person. How are you physically able to turn a potato this fresh into styrofoam this quickly? It's so bad. Oh, an animal style fry. Shut up. You're being gaslit. You're being gaslit. They're not good. Go to Popeyes. Go to Popeyes. Go to Rally's. Go to Five Guys. Anywhere else has better fries. I would eat a Burger King fry over an In-N-Out fry. And Burger King is garbage.
Yeah, their fries aren't bad though. It's just the Whoppers just make you feel like you're gonna die. Anyways, enough about.
I will look. I am disproportionately passionate about fast food, so I don't at me.
Don't fuck with me. I know my burgers.
Just like Ryden would be. Look, that dude would crush some Five Guys. Like, come on.
Absolutely, he would spend $500 then ask for more. Like he'd want.
Yeah, and that would only get you 2 burgers.
Oh, you're right.
Point. Air horns.
So, community questions. These are from my friend Aaron, who sends me questions that are so good because I'm just like, bro, these are better than mine. After voicing Raiden, do you feel any impact/influence by Japanese culture, especially when it comes to sumo as a cultural sport?
So when I booked him, I went up and, read through the Wikipedia page about him and like did some research on his life and the person that he was, and quickly realized that I don't think that Record of Ragnarok could have made a more different representation of him. Like, he has functionally no similarity to the real Tameemon Raiden. So I kind of didn't, after I made the effort, I was like, okay, well, I guess I don't have to pay much attention to that anymore. But also, like, he's not a sumo wrestler. Like, look at him. He's got literally 14 abs.
He hasn't had a carb in his life.
That dude hasn't even drank water in a year.
He just survives off hot dog juice. Like, he's insane.
Yeah, so he's got literally 14 abs. I counted them. And so, yeah, I don't feel any impact or influence because of sumo. If anything, I feel bad playing a sumo wrestler as a pasty white assigned male at birth individual. So that was actually the reason that I was kind of comfortable accepting the role, because generally authenticity in casting is really important to me. But he's so nothing related to the actual guy besides his name that I was like, you know what, I'll do this, fine, whatever.
Yeah, because I know for the more accurate ones, like the Shinsengumi, I know they cast a half Japanese guy for Okida and a Japanese man for Honda Izanami.
Yeah.
I pronounced that wrong, but yeah, and I think you bring up a very good point, of authenticity, because I know it's not completely historically accurate. I'm well aware of that about Record of Ragnarok, but I do love history, and I love the extra steps of authenticity that taken by the casting directors, and again, I think he did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
After voicing Raiden, did the character itself motivate you to become more active in sports and workouts? I hear you laughing, so that's probably a no.
Oh my god. See, the thing is, people that are not involved in the voice acting industry don't understand what the voice acting industry is like and what a just utter content grind it is. Like like for instance, yesterday I uh, woke up at 6:30, recorded 3 National Union radio commercials for the Georgia Lottery. Then I directed 5 hours of a video game, and then I had a 4-hour anime dubbing session for Boruto, and then I recorded like another 6 auditions after that. And that's gonna be basically every day this week for me. Like you just don't, especially when you're a full-time voice actor, like as much as I love the roles and like try to put a piece of myself in them and try to, do them justice, because I think the creation is worth doing justice. The reality is we're working on so many different things simultaneously usually that like if I was gonna let it influence like my life to a really undue extent, I'd have so many different conflicting things going on that I'd probably not have time for it. But also like as kind of underwhelming as it may be, I did 3 sessions for Record of Ragnarok, and I spent maybe 8 hours total in the booth recording for it over like a course of a week, and then it was like, okay, I got my $1,000 or whatever they paid me for it, and then it's done and on to the next gig. And so it's just a little less impactful than I think most fans wish it was, and I feel that way too. I wish that it, especially for some of these shows that have such a huge fan base, I wish we got to live in those worlds a little longer. I wish I got to record more for Smite and Heimdall because I love the Viking culture, and I spent weeks learning and honing my Scandinavian Norwegian accent for him, and then like literally the session was 2 hours and it was done, and then you never do it again. So so that being said, I really want to get more fit and active, and I used to be very fit and active. I used to be able to bench more than my body weight, but now I'm working myself into a grave and drinking too much. So but it's on the to-do list. I don't know if Ryden is going to be the one to push me there, but maybe after this interview, maybe he will. Maybe someday soon I'll have 14 abs.
Maybe. We can only hope and pray. To be fair to Aaron, he is a personal trainer. He's a
Very good.
so
Yeah.
he's like, bro.
Well, like I live, I live in the desert, and I love the outdoors. I've been doing some dirt biking recently. I want to get out into nature more and hike more, and get back to the gym. I was going to the gym a lot, even as much as like a year ago. But then when the whole monkeypox thing hit, I was like, I should probably stop for a while. And of course, then the wagon left me behind.
Yeah, it's hard to like I try to go to the gym at least once a week because of my job and my hobbies. They're not exactly active, so I'm trying to like at least go to the gym once a week and walk a few miles.
Yeah, definitely.
And just going like once I'm at the gym, I can do it, but making yourself go is its own little battle,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just so weird how it's just weird how Aaron is such a good friend of mine and we are just polar opposites. Like he's doing crunches, he's ripped, he's in great shape, and I'm just eating pizza watching SmackDown on Fridays. Like, yeah, go get him. All right. So this is from I'm hopefully pronounced this correctly. Lord Baldomero. Lord Baldomero. When he was casted for Raiden, did he think it would be like Raiden for Mortal Kombat?
No, I didn't. I knew from the get-go that it was a different guy. I mean, like I was saying earlier, got a picture of him, and you get the trailer and whatnot. So I knew. Yeah.
From Banana Pants 871, what was your favorite line to say as Raiden?
Yeah, I think we covered this already. I loved pretty much the entirety of that first scene, and we just laughed and laughed the whole time. And just also the very intro breathing, like his snores and stuff were super fun because that was such a intimidating atmospheric moment. And I'm a huge fucking nerd, so I always say acting lives in the breath, and it was really fun to try to like show his character and size and like lethargy through the way he was breathing and snoring and everything too.
Yeah, and allow me to say, and I'm not just saying this because you're here. I'm a huge fan of the manga. I knew the outcome. I had read it maybe 2-3 times before I saw the anime, and they didn't say who was voicing Raiden initially with like the promo because it was all about Round 4, Hercules and Jack the Ripper. So they didn't say anything about Raiden, and so I was kind of like, I know they do a great job casting. I was sort of a little bit nervous just watching, like, all right, what are they going to do for Raiden? And like within the first 5 minutes, I was like, yeah, you nailed it. Like it's great. Like I know you said you did.
I mean, you just know like he's gigantic, so you're gonna get the booming voice. He's also a boozer and everything, so he's probably gonna have like fucked his voice up somewhat, and so then you're just left with what you got.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Like you said maybe 8 hours on maybe 4 8 hours on the character, and you've just did an amazing job. And everyone, I haven't seen a single negative comment about the performance, which is shocking for anime dubs.
Yeah, I was about to say, which for anime dubs is ridiculous. I mean, you can do anything in anime, and somebody can figure out a reason to hate you for it. So
Yeah, you can exist, and
but the yeah, I mean, we don't really pay attention to that because like, what am I gonna listen to the criticism of an anime fan? Like, come on, you're an anime fan.
nobody is better at shitting on anime fans than anime fans.
Yeah, exactly. If you want me to take you seriously, say something serious.
Exactly. It's like, just shut up, you fucking weeb. Like, it's just everything, and then we know damn well we're going home and watching anime. It's just how we treat each other. It's like our own little code word. Okay, I don't have too much time left, so I'll ask some quick ones. Here's a good one from Blah1297. What is your opinion on Shiva, his opponent?
I thought Shiva was a great fighter. I liked his depiction in the show. I thought the other actor, oh man, I should know who it was. I knew who was acting for Shiva, but anyway, he did a great job, and I thought that the portrayals were good foils for each other. I kind of wish that that I had won.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
I still think that like I don't know, some of those shots were kind of cheap. Like I felt like Ryden, you're coming back. This is it. We're gonna win it. And even though I knew that it wasn't gonna happen, it was like I think that should have hit a little harder, done a little more damage there. So, but you know, I'm clearly biased. But it was a good fight, and I feel like everybody was suitably sad when I died, which is all that you can really ask for.
Yeah. I mean, he set himself on fire. Like, it's like, come on, that's not fair.
Yeah.
And I believe they had changed voice actors from season 1 to season 2, and the voice actor in season 2 of Shiva was Sean Rohani. I apologize if I mispronounced that.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it either.
Yeah, he did a very good job. Apple P2, absolute legend in the Record of Ragnarok community, wants to know, do you like apples?
I do like apples, and the best kind of apple is a Honeycrisp apple.
Yes! Oh my god.
Or close second, a Fuji apple.
Oh man, we have so much in common. Kenji Ottoman wants to know, calzone or pizza?
Pizza, but I'm never going to turn down a calzone.
Fair enough. Avatar Joji wants to know, with enough practice, do you think you could ever beat Raiden in a sumo match?
Oh, you fool. Of course I can't. He can. Dude can put his muscles in his other muscles.
He stacks his muscles. Uh,
Come on.
that's fair. I'm glad we've humbled ourselves to the point where we're like, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. He's the best of all time. Do I think that I'm going to be the best of all time in sumo? No. I'm not even going to be a good one.
All right, and Lou wants to know. Funny, we're ending this on a show about a question about a different anime. Did you enjoy working on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
That was another one that was like, you do a 1 or 2 hour like session and you get paid all of $150 and a pat on the butt, and then you add it to your IMDb. I will say I really did enjoy the session I did for JoJo's though, because it's rare that you get a character like the lawyer who he's not named, so he's technically just kind of a bit role, but like he makes that whole first episode, and it is a crucial part of really the whole plot moving forward from there. So like it's fun that he had the effect that he did. Also, Kira Buckland is a dear friend of mine, and so getting to act opposite from her was really fun to see the final product, and she crushed it too. And he's just such a sleazebag who also gets to die in a very satisfying way at the end. So truly, A plus, no notes.
There you go. That's all it's about. Just playing. It's fun playing. It's gotta be fun playing a terrible character and then seeing them die. It's gotta be something
Yeah. You want to see them get their comeuppance, and then just being really smarmy.
Last question for you. Is there anything you want to say to the fans of Record of Ragnarok who are listening right now?
If I said anything incriminating, don't go tell Netflix. And thanks for watching the show and caring about my character. It's rare for a lot of actors to have roles that people actually care enough about to want to talk about. And for most of my career, when I was doing either like bit parts in video games or bit parts in anime or like commercials and corporate stuff, which I did for a number of years when I was early in this, even if it's paying you well, nobody cares if you're the guy on the radio going, get $500 lease bonus cash on Highlander, So it's really, I will never take it for granted that people enjoy the work that I do now, and I hope they continue to be positive and supportive of everybody else in the acting world, even if they maybe don't look or sound the way that they initially expected them to.
I could not agree more. Is there anything you'd like to plug? And I know you have a band. If you're playing any shows anytime, want to plug a future role, anything?
No, my band is pretty well defunct and has been for a long time. If you go to my Twitter, you can find a link to see my band is so gone nowadays that like I think a bunch of other bands have popped up and stolen our name, and we let the trademark lapse a while back. So like now I'm not even sure if we're the first result on Spotify for us anymore. But if you go to my Twitter, there's a link to my music down in there. If you like bands like Between the Buried and Me and Periphery and progressive metal-y things, you'll probably dig it, but that's pretty old by this point. There's my class also on my Twitter. Basically, Twitter is where I live, unfortunately, since it's a burning dumpster fire of capitalistic misery. It sucks, but every other social media sucks too, so here we are. That's about it, really. I'm pretty much too busy to do anything else, so someday I'll take a break and find a hobby.
Maybe sumo.
Maybe sumo. Then maybe indeed. And that's what we'll ride off into the sunset about.